is Techstrong TV.
Hey, welcome back to RSAC 2022. Mitch Ashley, we're just rotating all of our all of our hosts. Alan is offsite doing some fun stuff. So I have the great pleasure of being joined by Alon Nahwani. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help. And you are field CISO with AppViewX. There we go. I'm stumbling. It's been a long week, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think we're all pretty much exhausted at this point.
Yeah, we're kind of reaching that giddy stage. I think I am. Well, tell us about yourself. Tell us about the company.
So I'm the field CISO for AppViewX. I've been here for about 2.5 years. AppViewX does certificate lifecycle management. We kind of take your PKI, your infrastructure, and automate it, both from a DevOps, kind of reduce the outages. And then also from a security perspective, we protect your private keys and just kind of protect your crown jewels, the keys to the castle, to make sure that only those who need access to them when they need the access have access. And we can, through automation, we can integrate with like an ITSM. So if there's a developer that's spinning up a new web application, we can actually go and install the certificate directly without them even interacting with any PKI infrastructure. We'll issue the certificate, install it, and then as needed, we can revoke the certificate, we can renew it, reduce outages, no more spreadsheets to manage everything, nothing kind of getting forgotten.
What folder is that in?
Yep, exactly. No shared calendar that I forgot to subscribe to. I didn't get the alert. Oh my God.
Expired? Oh, wow.
Yep, exactly.
So is this cloud-based, or are you doing like a HSM for the vaulting and all the managing on-prem?
We integrate with, we're CA agnostic. We'll integrate with all the CAs. We'll integrate with an HSM if you're using one. And then we'll go and install it. We even have part of our platform around application delivery. We'll even manage your application delivery controller from firmware or any changes that if you want to change the ciphers. If you're managing multiple application delivery controllers, getting that uniformity, that kind of golden image on all of them. It's a pain for a lot of people. So that's also something that we kind of bring to the table.
Excuse me. So I just finished a talk on API security, and the message was, manual nothing, because it's all happening too fast. You'll never keep up.
It's not even that. You also
PKI is kind of the same challenge, right?
Yeah. So it's not even just too fast. So there's two parts to why you would want to automate it. The first one is, you want to make sure that you have the consistency and that you don't have somebody fat fingering, forgetting a step. If you've sat there and you've done the same mundane task over and over again, at some point you're like, I know the steps. I don't need the checklist. Yeah. I'll sit there.
Shortcut.
Oh, wait, on that one, I forgot this step. And on that one, I forgot this step. And all of a sudden that consistency is no longer there. But then on the flip side, and it's kind of my personal soapbox, but, do you really want your employees sitting there and doing a mundane task? You didn't hire smart individuals to sit there and just click on the same button in the Ford plant over and over again, screwing the wrench. You tap into their knowledge, tap into their brain. Let's free our people from the mundane, use automation where we can, and tap into people's potential.
I'm curious, are you primarily working with CAs, external CAs, or do you also have people who have, God forbid, they've gone off and created their own CA hierarchy and trying to manage it themselves? Bigger organizations can do that, but most people can't afford or find the people to do that.
So, all of the above. We're finding that people not only have one external CA and often, like you said, a private CA internally. We're also finding through whether it be like a merger and acquisition situation or they migrated from one onto another. A lot of organizations have more than one public CA that they're working with. And
I would think most do, yeah.
It's crazy because, it's so easy for things to just fall between the cracks and for people to miss things. And again, back to those spreadsheets of like that one system that's a middleware somewhere that integrates with everything all together. Nobody remembers. And by the way, that's using a cert, and whoever created it way back when isn't here anymore. And that shared calendar was their calendar. And, now we have an outage. And it's funny. I mean, being here at RSA, we've had several people come by our booth of, we just had a certificate outage. We need a solution for this. So many people are having outages because of it. I'm a huge believer in the security side of things of, hey, let's make sure our private keys, and we don't want, the exposure there. I mean, look at SolarWinds. Their private keys, that were used for signing software were exposed, and that's really kind of what happened.
Not recommended.
There. Right, exactly. But even before that perspective, you have the perspective of an outage, and people don't even think that it could be something as simple as a certificate.
It's amazing because, software is happening all over the organization too. So it's the IT and the network organization security, but it's happening in the business unit. Somebody goes and fires up credit card with some hosting service or cloud service and, gets a Google certificate or whatever from wherever. And
nobody knows about it.
Nobody knows about it. It's not managed and it expires someday, or, it wasn't set up with the proper security standards. So it's a proliferation problem too. For
sure. And it's something that we're seeing over and over and over again. I mean, I can't tell you how many organizations, being a former CISO, I hate the idea of running a scan in a network that in an environment, but through doing something like that, you'd be surprised how many of those, hey, that one guy bought I saw a company with a GoDaddy certificate that had never been a GoDaddy customer that some guy bought just
some
like
contractor,
with their own credit card because they just wanted to finish the project and get it done so they could go on vacation. And that was sitting there. And when that certificate expired, it was an outage.
Yep. That's the world we live in today. So tell me a little bit about, there's so much around zero trust, there's so much around XDR. Security world is buzzword bingo, right? and no thanks to the analyst, and I'm an analyst. We create that problem for ourselves. Zero trust has been a conversation for a long time, mostly about what it is. I think people are getting more, okay, how do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? What's your take on zero trust, and how do we need to think about it?
It's really interesting because we're seeing that. You walk down on the floor, you'll see zero trust on every single booth. I heard somebody say yesterday, it's zero trust 30. It's just crazy to me. Which
it's going to be a car brand pretty soon,
basically at this point, which truth be told, it sucks because it's a really important concept and it's something that's very critical as a mindset for security that's being turned into a buzzword that just everybody seems to be throwing out there. But within zero trust, everybody's talking about kind of the human identity. And again, back to the concept of, you don't let something onto your network without knowing who they are and making sure that you authenticate it and all that. What I'm missing, and something that we happen to be talking about, is what about the machines? What about the devices we're allowing on our networks? Why are you allowing somebody to authenticate? For them to authenticate, that machine already needs an IP address, needs to be able to communicate, needs to be on the network. Why are you letting it on the network? Why aren't you authenticating, making sure that device, is authenticated as part of your network, and that zero trust model is even a step before authenticating the human behind the device, you're authenticating the actual device. And that's, machine identity management, which is one of the things that we do and we assist with. We do that through certificates and pushing certificates to devices for authentication on your environment before you let it in. Real quick on that, I can tell you that, I did a lot of OT security with, gas and oil and water and power in airports. And I walked the terminal with the CIO and a CISO from an airport. The three of us walked together. And they just looked at me and they said, look around, what do you see? I said, I see people. What do I see? He's like, well, they all have devices. I'm like, yeah. He's like, all those devices have white cables. And it's true. Everybody has a white charging cable. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, they'll plug that USB into anything. And even if it's a network cable that's white, security in the airport isn't going to notice a white cable. They're going to think that somebody's charging. So how do you make sure that only the devices that should be on the network and should be given the access are doing that? And that's kind of the importance of machine identity management.
I remember just a total side story. I think it was San Jose Airport. I remember somebody had put a sticker of an outlet that had 2 USB ports. It was just a sticker, it wasn't a real thing.
How many people tried to plug
Just
in?
sit there and watch me.
Was there a hidden camera?
No, I was
That
just,
would've been
I don't
funny.
know. There might have been. I don't know at that part. I was just sitting across from him and go, like, okay, let's see how many people do this. 'Cause I'll bet it's a
crazy.
few. No, it's a lot.
Yeah,
A lot of me.
and that's a sticker. Now imagine if it's, an actual device that's pretending to be something else.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. So you mentioned you're talking about the DevOps and software process, and we were speaking of automation. With cloud native and microservices, we're doing API, RESTful, whatever protocol across, a fabric of thousands, if not more, tens, hundreds of thousands of microservices internally, externally. That's a huge fabric to secure. It's got to be automated, rotated, managed, governed. I wouldn't want to set up my own PKI hierarchy if I didn't have to, but it's got to be done properly, or it's a mess. I mean,
Yep.
you'll never cleaning that up is bad news.
We're part of quite a few projects of cleaning that up. It's a pain.
But when you step into one of those situations, where do you start? Do you kind of go back to the beginning? Where's
So I think the original quote of you can't start curing something unless you admit you have a problem. And with that, how do you admit you have a problem? Well, you find out what you have. And we'll do, like I said before, we'll do a discovery. And we can do that through running a scan on your network. Or, we can also connect into your CAs and pull the inventory from your CAs and say, okay, here's what we know, what we have. If it's a one-off like that, we accept the risk of whatever it is. And at that time, we'll review it. But 99% of what we have is here. Let's start to clean this up. Let's start to either, and I've been part of a few healthcare projects where we'll actually decide, okay, we're going to move to a new PKI infrastructure. We're going to move to a new CA. We're going to have to revoke all of this, reissue, reinstall. It's a pain. I'm not going to lie.
It's a process for sure. Yeah.
But when you come out of that and you know that it's fully automated and you don't have to worry about it again, and you know that if it needs to be renewed, it's going to be renewed on its own. If you need more, it's either connected into your ITSM, or you have a process where you can log into our system and go through our request process, and you can even pick which CA if you have multiple CAs that you're using. We have the option to add approvers within our own system. So we can really work with what kind of the enterprise's bureaucracy, red tape process dictates, and align to what the company wants. And that's what we've been helping. We do have, just talking about fun stuff for a second.
Yeah.
We do have a few other projects that are definitely fun. We're helping an IoT healthcare wearable actually secure people's health information. So we're installing certificates at manufacturing on a wearable that people put on their body to secure the communication to, whether it's another wearable that's reading the information, like a watch, for example, or a phone or equipment at a doctor's office or anything like that. We're encrypting all of that information, not only so that, your, mine, Joe Schmo's security is intact, but world leaders who, if you're the CIA and you want to know what, somebody in Asia's blood pressure is because they're a world leader, we're helping kind of make sure and keep all of our health information secure. So I think that's a really cool project that we've been a part of. And PKI, as much as PKI is not sexy and fun, it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely a wild ride.
It's sort of like the roads, or some element used in roads. We have to have it. I mean, it's fundamental to what we do for sure. Any impressions from RSAC this year? We're obviously all back in person, and good to be connecting and not sitting behind the screen. But any other
other than
thoughts or
seeing
observations?
Zero Trust everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. It is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's great to see people in person. It's great to shake hands again. It's great to look people in the eye. People that I've had the opportunity to meet people I've worked with for over 2 years that all of a sudden I thought you were going to be taller, or just giving somebody a hug because you've worked with them for so long, you become friends virtually. We never really hung out and had the opportunity to go out and have a drink with a friend. It's definitely been an interesting and fun experience.
That human connection.
Yes.
Nothing like in-person human connection.
Absolutely.
Alon, great to have you come by. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you for having me.
PKI, lifecycle management, and tying it into DevOps and some of the fun projects
For sure.
you're doing. Hope you'll come back. And where can folks find out more? Where can they find out?
Yeah, you can come to our website at www.appvux.com.
Great. Any particular resource there, or free trial, free account, or
All of it is all there. People can check in. We actually launched our new brand, so it's a brand new website, and hope people like it.
Okay, good. Yeah, quick. If you've been there before, go again because it's new. So, all right, take care.
Thank you.